So we're finishing up, these are those final steps. You should have been leaving your serger tails long. So this is where I finished up the neckband. Actually, one of my students finished up her neckband. You're gonna take that long serger tail and you're gonna find a tapestry or an embroidery needle. You'll go ahead and thread the end of that serger tail. I'm actually gonna trim mine off a little bit here. But you'll thread the end of the serger tail through the needle. And you want to try to get all 4 of the threads in the eye. Okay, so I get all 4 threads through the needle. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be feeding the needle through the serged seam. I like to do kind of an overlap, so I'm going to put through the serged seams and I'm going to pull through. I want to keep a hold of those tails so that I don't pull it out of the needle. Now I'm going to go back over where I just did, sort of making a knot, but not officially, not just kind of an over loop. Back through the serger stitching. Okay, and now finally to end it, I can just go all the way through the serged stitches, all the way down. It just tucks that serger tail in and secures it. Then once it's like this, so it's gone all the way under the serged stitches, then I can just clip that loose. Okay, so that's how you hide the serger tails. And you will go all over your shirt to see if you have any more of those tails hanging that you had left earlier. You'll need to finish all of them in that same manner. To finish up your hems, so you have used the cover stitch machine. Now if you did a band at the end of your raglan or a band on your cuffs, then you'll just need to secure your serger tails. But if you use the cover stitch machine to do your hems on your sleeves or do the hem around the waist, or hips, then you will use this technique. So when you finished off, you should have finished with long tails. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab these 2 tails that are left from the top side. What I need to do is I need to get those tails from the top or outside or the right side of the fabric, and I need to get them to the wrong side. So these 2 tails, all I'm going to do is thread them through my needle. All right, so let's see here. You see I've got my hem right here, and these are the 2 tails that are left on the front side. If you have a side seam that you ended up with, that's where you should go through. You're gonna go straight to the back with your needle so that those long tails are now on the back side. So I'm gonna flip my hem over. So now we're looking at and this is just a scrap, but I'm gonna show you on the inside what you should have is 1 tail from your looper. So I am going to unthread my needle. I'm gonna take all 3 of these stitches together, those 3 little tails, and I'm gonna get them all threaded together. Okay, and then we need to secure. So I'm gonna take my needle underneath a couple of those hemmed stitches. I'm gonna end up with a loop. I'm gonna take the end of my needle through the loop, and I'm going to pull tight to make a knot, and I'm gonna do that again underneath those stitches. Needle goes through the loop, and then we're gonna pull tight. Then what you can do is either cut short, or what I actually like to do is just like I did when I was finishing my serged tail, I like to feed it back through the hem a little bit. Just take my needle, feed it through there, and then we're able to trim off that thread. And the end then is then tucked underneath the hem. Okay, so you should have a secured finished hem on the front with no tails on the front, a knot tied on the back, the tail fed through the hem cut short, so no tails on the back either. So this process has been going on for a very long time. If you'll recall, we started with this paper very first, where we selected the style of raglan that you were going to choose, and so you're almost ready to turn it in. Before you do turn it in, I would like you to make sure that you have no threads hanging anywhere off of your shirt, that you have finished any of those unfinished serger tails or hem threads, or if there's any other threads at all, clip those off. Make sure you secure them first, but clip them off. You want to make sure that your shirt is laying as neatly as possible. So using a pressing cloth, go ahead and press the neckband, press your sleeves, get it looking as nice as you possibly can before you turn it in. You will, in class, also have an evaluation form to fill out for the entire process. That's part of your grade, but it also gives you the opportunity to reflect on the project, how it went for you, what you might do differently next time, and just be able to think about this project as a whole. As for most of you, this was your first garment that you've made, especially using a knit fabric. So hope you enjoyed the project, hope you wear your shirt, and that this maybe inspired you to make more of your day-to-day clothing.